Tractate Bava Batra, page 147, 9 lines from the top of the page. The subject of transferring property or transferring right without ma'aseh kinyan, without physical matter of acquisition, is the core part of our discussion today. A person, in that case, happened not just in those days, but also in our times. A person gathered together his family, and he said to his son he wants to divide the estate in a certain way, and he expressed himself, and the children said, "What are you talking about? You're a young man. Why are you talking about end of life, etc.?" And the next day they heard that the man committed suicide. And they brought the question to the late Rabbi Yashiv, who was the great posek, great rabbi in Yerushalayim, in Jerusalem. And based on our sugya that we're going to study today, he ruled that even without ma'aseh kinyan, without a physical matter of acquisition, if the testimony of all the children are the same as in the clear expressions of transferring an estate, as much as we are opposing and is a violation of Torah law by committing suicide, but the act of acquisition, even by expression in words, is sufficient. That's obviously not the only subject we're going to talk today. We're going to talk also about general wills of people in the deathbed. We're going to speak about signals, meaning if it's a rain on Rosh Hashanah, beginning of the year, it's expression of capability not only of that day, but also a sign, a signal for the future year. It's a blessed, rainy year. And another subject that we're going to study is the prayer that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, expressing on the Day of Atonement on Yom Kippurim. So let's start. As we said, 147, 9 lines from the top of the page. Amar Rabbi Zera Amar Rav, Minayin lematnat shchiv mera shehi min Torah. Here we talk about a person who is in a deathbed, and he holds that it's a biblical precept that as much as it's not a will per se, because it wasn't a fulfillment of his wishes after life, which has to be expressed as in writing, but a gift that he gave, a person gave, and as we said many times, a person can give a gift during his lifetime without ma'aseh kinyan. So, shene'emar, they said in the Torah, in Parashat Nachalot, in the portion that dealing with a inheritance of estate, which is the book of Bamidbar, chapter 27, V'ha'avartem et nachalato lebito. The Torah said, if a man dies and he does not have a son, you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. So the word v'ha'avartem, it should pass, appears superfluous. So you derive from that, yesh lecha ha'avara acheret shehi chazo, which is, you have a similar case of transferring estate without a matter of kinyan, matter of acquisition. Ve'eizo zo matnat shchiv mera. It's the gift of a person on his deathbed, which is the reasoning. We have the word of v'ha'avartem, it should transfer, meaning that there is another option of transferring estate, and it can be like in our case, a person in the deathbed who's a recipient of who was a giver and to other recipient of a gift that is effective even without matter of acquisition, without ma'aseh kinyan. Another opinion, Rav Nachman Amar, רבה ברבוע מהכה, ונתתב את נחלתו לאחיו. If he's not there, is no one there, so you transfer the estate to his brother. Why you need the word untatem? You should give. יש לך נתינה אחרת שהיא חזו. You have another example of something that it's giving that is comparable to this case. And ואיזו זו מתנת שכיב מרע. The giving example of someone who's in a deathbed. ורב נחמן, מה היא טעמה? לא אמר מי והעברתם. If that's the reason, how does Rav Nachman explain or use the word you should transfer in case man passed away, you should transfer to his daughter? The way that Rav Zera explains. ההוא מבא אליך דרבי. דתניא רבי אומר, בכולם נאמרה בהם נתינה. In all expression of the heir, of the yorshim, of the inheritance, the Torah used the word giving. וכאן, in the case of a daughter, נאמרה העברה. The Torah used the word you should transfer. אין לך שמעביר נחלה משבט לשבט אלא בת. The only case that someone carry from one tribe to another, as you remember the structure, we explained it several times, the structure of inheritance in the early days, when Joshua inherited the land and they divided upon the tribe, so the first case was divided in a way that structure that people marry the same tribe, so it will not have a transfer of an estate. Later they allowed marriages between tribes, and in that case the daughter carries and move the estates to a place of the new husband, the new tribe, and as a result of that, ho'il ubna uba'ala yorshim ota. Since in that case the son and the husband inherited her. So usually the heir of a person, the inheritors, applies to the family of his father, such as son, father, brother from the father. So it means usually it stay in the tribe, the Rashbam explained. But here, when the daughter inherited the estate of her father, it means that there is a possibility that that estate will transfer to a different tribe upon her marriage. ורבי זרע מייתמה לו אמר מיעונתתם. So the other way around, why Rabbi Zera did not say that this halakha can derive from the word, then you shall give. So they said, orchei dikrayuhu. This is the common use of the pasuk, and therefore he doesn't say that there is a superfluous word. It's just the structure of the sentence. Rav Menashia bar Meir Amar mehacha. Here again we talk about the source for a gift of a person on deathbed, that it's legal even without maaseh kinyan. So he brings a pasuk from the book of Kings, second one, chapter 20. בימים ההם חלה חזקיהו למות. King Chizkiyahu, at that age, in time, he turned to be sick, meaning it was soon you see that you have no children at the first stage. ויבוא אליו ישעיהו בן אמוץ הנביא ויאמר אליו, כה אמר השם צב לביתך כי מת אתה ולא תחיה. He said, give a will to his family because you're going to die. בצוואה בעלמא, which is, it was by, he gave like expression of instruction without maaseh kinyan. And it can be without transferring an estate. And if you remember, we talked about it, it was an act of faith. He foresee that he have a future generation, a child that basically rebel And God said to him, "Behad dekavshei rachmana lama li." We learn it that God said to you, "You do your business, which is creating a future generation, and what's going to happen, it's beyond your control. The choices that people will make, the future generation, is that something that it's not in a way your business, your control." Anyway, Rami Bar Yechezkel Amar Mehacha, they said in the book of Samuel, chapter 17, V'achitofel ra'a ki lo ne'esta atzato. It was a horrible advisor to in the time of King David. His name is Achitophel. He was ingenious, but was a wicked person. So he saw that they didn't listen to his advice. So he basically intended, the Rashbam said, to commit suicide, and therefore vayachavosh et hamor. So he prepared his donkey in those days. That was the matter of transportation. Vayelech el beito el iro. He went to his house. Vayitzav el beito vayechanek. So basically, he, meaning Achitophel, was a part of a council of rebellious sons of Avshalom against his father King David when he rebelled. After one of the successful attempts of Avshalom, when he forced King David to be out of Yerushalayim, Achitophel advised Avshalom to pursue David immediately, while he was very tired, was jaded from his escape. So Avshalom rejected that. So basically, Achitophel understand that that's the end of the story, and therefore he choked himself. So it means, betzava'a be'alma, he distributed Achitophel his wishes by instruction only. And that's the idea, that a person can transfer an estate just by expression of words. Since the Gemara speaks about the will of Achitophel before he passed away, so the Gemara brings a braita that relate to that, but later on we go back to the gift of a person at his deathbed. תנו רבנן שלושה דברים ציווה אחיתופל את בניו. So the Rashbam said that that's not sources from the pesukim, it's just a Kabbala, it's just a tradition that we received by our sages. So they said that three things Achitophel commended to his son before he passed away. Number one, Al tiyu b'machloket, do not partake, meaning he said, I learned it in a hard way. Don't participate, don't partake of disputation. How proper is it, since we are in the weekly portion of Korach that rebel against Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Torah said, "Velo tiyeh ki Korach va'adato." This, the rabbis explain, that this type of machloket, of disputation, when one side is 100% correct and the other side is 100% wrong, that will never happen again. Meaning, all this type of machloket, the person should stay away from that. Don't partake of that. Ve'al timredu b'malchut Beit David. He says, because I, meaning Achitophel, was partake of that rebellious against the kingdom of David, and I see the consequences, do not do that. He advised or commended. V'yom tov shel atzeret, Atzeret is the festival of Shavuot. Barur zir'u chitim. He predicted that the holiday of Shavuot will be no cloud, clear sky, and therefore the crop will be successful, and the Avetz, others that explains that during the festival of Shavuot they bring to the Beit HaMikdash, the holy temple, the shewbread, and that made out of wheat, the new one. So to Tosfot Arosh explained, he bring Rabbeinu Tam, that that's basically prognostication for the year. You see it in Shita Mekubetzet and other sources like the Gemarrah in Rosh Hashanah. We study it on page 16. Mar Zutra Amar Balul Itmar. Just the opposite, which means that it will be combination of cloud and clear sky, and that's the sign for the good crop. Wheat. Amri Nahardei, the sages of the city of Naharda, said, Mishmei de Rabbi Yaakov, lo barur mamash, velo balul mamash, ela, it's not really the final one, but afilu balul veruach tzfonit menashvato, zeu barur. But he said, even if the day is cloudy, but a north wind is blowing the clouds away, it's considered a clear day. Amar le Rabbi Abba le Rav Ashi, Anan ad Rav Yitzchak bar Avdi matnit ala. We learn it from different ways, the successful of the crop. Amar Rav Yitzchak bar Avdi b'motzei yom tov ha'acharon shel Chag, the last day of the festival of Sukkot, which is the completion, the day of Shmini Atzeret. Hakol tzofin la'ashan ha'ma'aracha. That time they have the temple, and they have the wood on the altar. So everyone looked upon the smoke that rising from that arrangement of the wood on the altar. So basically they look and they knew that if the smoke is going to a certain direction, they knew that the wind come from the other way, and that was a sign that that's the way the wind will be in the entire year. There is a Maharal and there is a Kabbala over how exactly you evaluate the wind and how it goes. I remember one time when I was a yeshiva boy, I went to the Rav Kaduri, it was a great Mekubal, for a afternoon service for Mincha and Arvit, and I heard him lecturing how the wind is in a certain way and the effect of the wind upon the crop, but it's based on this Gemara. So, נטע כלפי צפון, עניים שמחים ובעלי בתים מצבים. If it's a southern wind, so the poor are happy and the rich are sad. מפני שגבי שנה מרובין ופירות מרכיבים. So, because it's too much rain and the produce will decay because it's so much humidity. And so it's very difficult then to store the abundance harvest. So basically the homeowner have no choice but to sell the product quickly at the lower price. נטע כלפי דרום, עניים מצבים בעלי בתים שמחים. It's the other way around to the south. So the rich, the owner are happy and the poor not. מפני שגשמי שנה מועטין ופירות משתמרים. Because they can store the produce well and it's going to be expensive, and it's the other way around. נטע כלפי מזרח הכל שמחים. If it's to the east, everyone is happy because it's kind of balance. כלפי מערב, if you go to the west, which is the east wind, הכל עצבים, they are all sad. The east wind obviously is not bringing rain, and it's basically an indication that it will be a very rough dry year. So the Gemara asks, ורמיני, מזרחית לעולם יפה, מערבית לעולם קשה, רוח צפונית יפה לחיטים, בשעה שהביאו שליש וקשה לזיתים בשעה שיניצו, ורוח דרומים קשה לחיטים בשעה שהביאו שליש ויפה לזיתים בשעה שיניצו. So basically you see here an expression how the wind goes to a certain direction, and the way it's appear here, it's basically the opposite. So they said, ואמר רב יוסף, ויתמר מר זוטרא, ויתמר רב נחמן בר יצחק, וסימנך, שולחן בצפון, מנורה בדרום, היי מרע בדידי, והי מרע בדידי. So that's basically expression when you have the shulchan, the table is in the north of the sanctuary, and the candle burn in the south. So the table, it's you have the showbread made for the wheat is placed is in the north, and the north wind is beneficial to the wind. The candle burn, which is the olive oil, is in the south wind is beneficial for the olives. So basically what you see here is the total contradiction to Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak, Rabbi Yitzchak bar Abdimi, when he talk about the effect of the western and eastern winds. So the Gemara said, no, lokashya, halan vehalehu. It's not a problem, because one, the Braita expressed in our place, the place that they wrote the Talmud, that the land is low and the earth is very wet, so you don't need so much rain. Vehalehu, Rabbi Yitzchak bar Abdimi, it applies to people in Eretz Israel, that the land is high, they need a lot of water, so therefore the wind of the western wind is good, because it's increased the rain, and eastern wind is hard for the land, because it's avoiding the rain. Now, the Gemara brings another sign that shows the upcoming year. Tanya Abba Shaul Omer, Yom Tov Shel Atzeret, the festival of Shavuot, Barur, when it's come to a clear cloud, Siman Yafeh Lechol HaShana Kula, it's a good sign for the entire year. Amar Azvid Hayom HaKama Darei Shata, the first day of the year, I Chamim Kula Shata Chamima. If it's warm, the entire year will be warm. Ikarir Kula Shata Krira, and the entire year will be cold. So the Gemara asks a question, Ulemai Nafka Mina, what's the real difference if the year will be in hot or cold? 147b, לתפילתו של כהן גדול, the high priest, the Kohen Gadol, make a special prayer on Yom Kippur. The Gemara in Yoma, page 53, explains that the way that it was assigned and predicted, that's the way he prayed. Tosfot also explained it. So basically, if you foresee that it's going to be in one way, such as too hot, too cold, too raining, etc., he prayed that will change and will be more blessing year. If you look at the Machzorim on Yom Kippur, the afternoon service, Musaf, you see a special expression of what exactly the Kohen Gadol, when he complete bringing the incense in the Holy of Holies, and he entered the sanctuary, how he prayed for the whole year, and that was basically based on the sign that we said here. Now we go back to the subject of a gift from a person who was in a deathbed, and bring sources to that Tanaim. V'Rabba Amar Rab Nachman matnat shchiv midrabanan be'alma hi. It's just a rabbinic enactment, and obviously the rabbis have the right to have a rabbinic enactment when it's come to money, and said that based on the idea Ritva said hefker bedin hefker, you can do it. Shema titarev da'ato alav. Maybe he be so aggravated that he cannot disperse his estate the way he wished to, and therefore Rabbeinu Yonah and others say that that's the reason they put that such a decree. So the Gemara asks him, Amar Rab Nachman hachi, ואמר רב נחמן אף על גב דאמר שמואל המוכר שטר חוב לחברו וחזר ומחלו מחול. So he said clearly that if someone sells a promissory note to another and then forgives the death is forgiven and the note is nullified, and even the heir of the creditor can forgive the debt. ואפילו יורש מוחל, מודה שמואל שאם נתנו במתנת שכיב מרע, that if he give it as a gift of a person on deathbed, דאינו יכול למוחלו. והיא אמר בשלמה דאורייתא, if you tell me that the gift of the person on the deathbed is biblical, which means that the person who received that gift receive it by the total biblical terms, that is affected by the Torah structure, so therefore he cannot forgive, because it's biblical. But if you tell me that it's rabbinic law, why is the heir unable to forgive the death? Amai eno yachol the yoresh to forgive the death, limchol. The Gemara said that structure of a gift of a person in the deathbed, eina shel Torah. It was, the truth is the rabbinic law, ve'asahua shel Torah. And they made it, the sages made it a halacha with the force of Torah law. Which means that the Ritva said that that's part of Shi'abud HaChov, that it's make it in a way the same as biblical law. אמר רב נחמן, שכיב מרע שאמר ידור פלוני בבית זה, או יאכל פלוני בדקל זה, לא אמר כלום. Because this is something that you cannot transfer as a requirement. And the fruit of the palm tree is something that is not, דבר שלא בא לעולם, is not yet in the world, so the recipient not receive them by מעשה קניין. עד שיאמר, until the person in the deathbed said, תנו בית זה לפלוני וידור בו, תנו דקל זה לפלוני ויאכל פירותיו. So you need to say, give this house to Mr. So and he shall reside there. That's a different story. So basically you have הקניה. למימרא לסבר רב נחמן מילתא דאיתא בבריא איתא בשכיב מרע. That someone who's healthy, the same as someone on deathbed, דלאיתא בריא לאיתא בשכיב מרע. So basically the whole idea is that as a result the person on his deathbed cannot transfer ownership of a intangible right just as a healthy person cannot do so. האמר רב רבא אמר רב נחמן, page 148, שכיב מרע שאמר תנו הלוואתי לפלוני הלוואתו לפלוני. If a person is a deathbed said, give the loan on to me, so and so as a gift, the loan on to him is acquired by so and so. ואף אגב דלייתי בבריא, even this halacha is not applied to a regular healthy person, as one cannot transfer a loan to a third party without a promissory note. But here he said, Rav Papa אמר הואיל ויורש ירשע. He said, the whole idea of transferring loan is different with regard to a person on his deathbed, because the heir, the children, inherit loan without promissory note, and the rabbis basically accorded the gift of a person on his deathbed the same halachic status of inheritance. Another option, Ravacha Bred Rabbi Kamar Alva'a De'ita Bebarī. So when it's come to a gift without a promissory note can be conferred as a gift by a healthy person. וכדרבונה דמרב, דמרבונה אמרב, מנה לי בידך, תנאו לפלוני. If a person said, here I have so and so money, and transfer it, give it to so and so. So if it's במעמד שלושתן, if at that time it was the three parties, the Baal HaManeh, the owner of that money, the one who המחזיק, the one who hold it, and the one who was the recipient, the מקבלו, קנה. So the third party acquires the money without an act of acquisition, without the need of witnesses. So I would like to conclude with the Rambam, Ilchot Zchiya Matana, chapter 3. He said, if one lent money to another, or deposited money with another, he can transfer the money to a third party by issue an instruction in the presence of all three parties. How so? If he says to the borrower or bearer, I have 100 dinars in your possession as a loan or as a deposit, give it to a third person. The third person acquires the money and the giver cannot retract his gift.